morning, Quadcopter 101 here with another neat review. Now, I just did a review of the new Hubsan H502E, which is that center quadcopter there with FPV and follow me. But I'm also going to do a review right now of its little brother or little sister, the Hubsan H502E model. I got to keep these straight. The E model, as you can see, and the S model are slightly smaller versions of the Hubsan 501S. Let's compare them. I'm going to compare this 502S to the 501S. As you can see, it's quite a bit smaller than the 502S. And the 502S has brushed motors, and the 501E, no, I'm sorry, the 502S has brushless motors, and the 501E, or 502E, has brushed motors. Gosh darn it, it's hard to keep these together. Additionally, the 502S has a 10 megapixel camera. It has FPV. It has follow me mode. And it also has, well, that's about it, I think. I think it has circle me mode. I can't remember right now. But comparing that to the 502E, the 502E does not have any of those. It has a 720p camera, it has GPS, and it has return to home, and it has headless mode. That's the big features that this quadcopter has. Now, since it doesn't have a GPS system, or it doesn't have a GPS system in its transmitter, it does not have follow me, okay, like the 502S does. The 502S does have follow me, and I demonstrated that just now in its review video, but the 502E does not. This is the cheaper version of the three quadcopters. Again, you do not get follow me with this. You do get a 720p camera though, and again, you do get a GPS system built into this, and with that in mind, you also do get return to home with this. Let's go over how you activate these features. First off, I didn't show you the battery in this. The battery in this is a 610 milliampere hour high performance 7.4 volt 15C battery. It flies this quadcopter for close to 10 minutes. We'll demonstrate that here shortly. Other than that, let's see. It does use a micro SD card slot for the camera. It does not come with a micro SD card, unfortunately, or a card reader. You have to provide your own. That's about it for the quadcopter itself. Let's go over its transmitter. Now, the transmitter is similar to the old Hubsan transmitters. You have camera, operation of the camera, and photos by this button here. I believe the long press activates the video. The return to home function, which it has, is activated by pressing this button here. There is no flip feature with this quadcopter. Headless mode is activated by pressing into the throttle stick, and rates, beginner, intermediate, beginner and expert are selected by pressing into the pitch roll stick. To start the quadcopter, since this is a GPS quadcopter, you bring the throttles down, the throttle and the pitch roll stick down and out, and that will put the quadcopter into idle. You can do a manual compass calibration of the GPS by pushing this stick, the throttle stick, down and to the right, and then doing rapid right and left of the pitch roll stick. That will activate the compass calibration procedure. But this quadcopter automatically does a compass calibration every time you start it up, so that might not really be needed. Now, there's one thing that's very important that I have to let you know about. In the manual that came with mine says to bind this quadcopter, all you need to do is turn on the transmitter and then turn on the quadcopter. They'll automatically bind together. That was not true for my quadcopter. And Hubsan says that they're going to update their manual, but the way to bind the 502E model is to first turn on the quadcopter, then hold down the camera button while turning on the transmitter, and that will bind the quadcopter. So keep that in mind, folks, for those of you that do get this. Now, why would somebody want this? Again, this is the first quadcopter, toy-grade quadcopter, with a GPS system. That's why. And the 502E model is relatively inexpensive for what you're getting. You know, a 720p HD quadcopter with about a range of about 200 meters with a GPS system that actually does an actual return to home landing. Okay, no other toy grade can do that. So this is the first that's come out with that. So, and the price is right at about 120, I believe, for such a system. So let's fire this up and demonstrate it and see how it performs. Hope you enjoy this flight. First thing I need to do is double check that I'm still recording. Sometimes I do these reviews and then discover that I did not turn on the camera. The camera is on. Okay, and it's centered on my hat. That's how I center my camera. Okay, so to start this up and to bind it, as mentioned, you need to first plug in the quadcopter. And the lights come on, putting the quadcopter down and letting its gyros calibrate. And at the same time, next thing you do is hold down the camera button and turn on the transmitter. And we have bind. Now it says set compass 1. Before we set compass 1, I'm going to close up the door and we'll do the compass dance. Actually, I'm not going to do the compass dance. I'm just going to turn it until it says set compass 2. And sometimes, as with the H502S, I needed to do that, and then I turned it on its head. Then I turned it like this. I keep doing these until, for some reason, it takes forever to go to, there we go, set compass 2. Now set compass 2, I put the nose down. Okay, it's gone away. So we got compass calibration finally. Now I'm going to pick a spot free of dirt. I forgot to mention, folks, notice these little holes in the bottom of the landing gear. Sand can get in there, so be careful. You know, always spin your props before you do any flight to make sure that there's no resistance in the props. You don't want any sand in the gears. That will kill these brushed motors. Okay, first thing I want to do is activate the video camera before takeoff. And it's blinking and we're recording. And again, to take off, first you bring the throttles down and pitch stick down and out. And that puts it into idle. And also to turn it off, it's down and out, you should turn it off. So we're going to, again, start it up again. And then we're going to take to the air by giving it some throttle. It's drifting. I'm not sure I got the compass lock. Hold on, folks. Maybe I'm in altitude hold. Oh, I don't have enough. Let me land it again, folks. Sorry. I took off before checking, turning off the video. Okay, now we got 7 satellites. I didn't check to make sure that we had sufficient satellites before takeoff. You need at least 6 satellites. If you take off too early, like I did there, I only had about 5 satellites, I believe. You don't have GPS lock, and the quadcopter will be in altitude hold mode only. It won't be in GPS lock, so you'll get drift. Now I got 10 satellites. We're good to go, definitely good to go. Turning on the camera again, down and out. This time it should hold position. Giving it throttle. And this time it is holding position. Let me send it up a little higher to about eye level. Now we're going to check our GPS lock. What I'm looking for is toilet bowl effect, which indicates I need a compass calibration if it's doing one of these. But its lock seems to be pretty darn hard on lock. Sorry for that, folks. What did I just say? Hard lock. Very good lock. See how well that holds position? Okay. Let's set it up and out. We'll fly toward, I'm going to stay over the roads here because I don't want to go beating the bushes for this. It's snake season. Going up a little higher. Going up a little higher. Still flying outbound. We've got 12 satellites right now. And heading 319, altitude 52 meters, range 111 meters. Now, the little screen alternates between heading, altitude 65 meters, and range, or heading 308, altitude 67 meters, and range 111 meters. Going out to a little farther. 75 meters altitude. Okay, right about there. I'm going to hit return to home, folks, and the way I do that is pressing down on the right shoulder button and holding it down. Let's see it do a return to home. Seems to climb a little bit, and now it's flying right back to me. Let me go over here. Let's see if it actually lands itself. Okay, it's positioning itself, slowing down. First toy grade that could do this that I've seen. I'm going to stop the return to home if it looks like it's going to land in sand. I don't want it to land in sand, and the way I'll stop it is just a quick press. But if it lands on the concrete, I'll let it do the actual landing, and it looks like it's going to land on the concrete. Pretty darn accurate. First toy grade that I've ever seen that could do that. I'm not shutting it off, it's doing itself. And it seems to go into idle. Okay, let's go back up again. We're going to stay in... Okay, down and out. Let me... I think I ought to come out of return to home. Or do I? See if it starts back up again. Yeah, there we go. We're good. Going back up again. Actually, let me turn it off for a second, because I want to record that video, what we just recorded. You always remember to turn off your camera, folks, before turning off a quadcopter, or after doing a landing. I recommend doing that too. And then turning the video back on again. Otherwise, you might lose your video with, and this is true for all, just about all quadcopters. Okay, going back up. Still got 11 satellites. Let's go up, and I'm just going to hover it there and do a slow rotate. Let's send it up higher, about 300 feet. How high are we? Right overhead. I'm going to rotate right there, 154 meters, or 150, no, that can't be right. Hold on. 29 meters. So we're only about 30 meters up, because I can see it very well. It can't be that high, or as high as I thought it was. Okay, let's again push out, heading forward. And we're going to come down lower. Let's put it into headless mode. Headless mode on. Is that true? Okay, headless mode on now. Headless mode goes the direction it was pointed at when you press the button. Pulling it back, then I'm going to come down. Why am I in headless mode? I want to show what it's for. It's for panning. Panning the camera. You can keep the camera pointed at yourself in effect, or whatever you want to keep the camera pointed at it while you're moving. But coming out of headless mode. Okay, let's go down the road. We'll see how far we can go. Okay, going to higher rate too. Activate the rates again by pressing the right button to get a little more speed. I'm not going to go too high though. But again, I want to stay over the road. Okay, I'll go a little bit higher. I want to see what kind of range I can get. 71 meters. This one gets hard to see, folks. 131 meters. Oh, 104 meters, I'm sorry. That's about it. I don't feel comfortable because that gets hard to see. It does have return to home, I know. Going back to lower rate. And going up higher as it comes back. But I like to maintain visual sight on this. This little quadcopter gets hard to see out at about 100 meters or so. Unless you got the sky against it. Now I can see it because I can see the background of the sky. But it was very hard to see out there past 100 meters. Coming back, going to higher rate. Not super fast. Now you can't select, or you can't select between altitude hold and GPS. If it's got sufficient satellites, it automatically goes into GPS mode. If it doesn't have sufficient satellites, it goes into altitude hold mode. So there's no selection between the two. Going back to beginner rate. How much battery do I got left? This also transmits battery power. It's getting low on battery. I can see that right now. So I'm going to keep it close for the remainder of the flight. And a little bit lower too. We're going to see how much flight time we get out of it. Still recording. I'm going to land it. See how easy it is to land or not. Put it over the position where you want to land. Okay, and then reduce the throttle. Get it off of that sand. I don't want it to land on the sand. And reducing the throttle and leave it right there. Look at that hold its position, folks. You can get inches from the ground with this thing. And it will hold its position. Can you fly like that? Let's try it. Yeah. You want to do low level flying? I mean ultra low level flying? This will do it. Pointing it back toward me. Okay, a little skim there. Let's take it up a little bit higher. Oh, it's coming down. That probably means that we're getting low on battery. Maybe that was just the altitude hold sensor. No, it's holding position. So very stable. Very smooth. Very cool. Especially for the price, folks. I don't think you're going to find a cool quadcopter like this one here is going to be a hit. You know, the 502S is neat with its follow me. But this one here for the price with a GPS, I think this one's going to be the huge hit of the bunch of the of the three 501 and the 502 models, you know, S&E model. Pretty darn cool, huh? A little bit of VRS there. Okay, we'll go down here and do one more return to home from a low level. See if it can do that right there before the battery dies. See if we got time to do one more return to home. It climbs when it does return to home. Obviously, we see that. And it starts its way back. It comes nose in. That's good because a lot of return to home quadcopters come backwards. This one comes nose in for its return to home. Let's see how well this second return to home works. Not too shabby. Again, I think this one's going to be a hit. Will it take off again? No, you got to turn it off and turn it back on again. Okay, turn it off the camera. Turn it on the camera one more time. We're going to run this until the battery dies. Going back into the air. Battery lasts a long time on this one. As compared, again, I flew the 502S model just before this. The Follow Me model with FPV. The battery didn't seem to last as long as this one does. This one seems to have a longer lasting flight time. And that's probably because I'm not flying with FPV transmitter. That FPV transmitter in it probably reduces the flight time of the 502S model. Very smooth, very stable. Does it have blinking lights? I know. What I mean is, does it have an LVC warning? I don't see LVC. I see the back lights blink red when it's recording video to let you know it's recording, but the front apparently does not. I'm looking on my transmitter. It's saying low battery power, but you know, I'm not seeing. In the upper right corner is the battery power of the quadcopter, remaining battery power, but it's been low for quite a bit. So I don't know how accurate that is. Going to high rate. That doesn't seem to change much. Low and high rate. Maybe that's more for manual mode. Well, let's walk up the street with it, or the road with it, until it does die. There's the LA Aqueduct again. Again, this is the LA Aqueduct maintenance road. It runs 100 miles, I believe, over 100 miles from Lone Pine. Oh, there we go. We're getting low on battery. Can I make it back to the sand? I don't think so. Okay, the sand, I mean the concrete, I don't think so. So that's the flight time. Turning off the camera. Camera is off. And again, double, since I landed in sand, spin the props. Make sure that there's no sand in the gears. So that was the flight, first flight of the Hubsan H502E model. The one without Follow Me. Actually, it's a pretty cool quadcopter. I hope the video is good. We'll see. You know, the onboard video. If it is, this will be a huge seller, actually, for the price. Hope you enjoyed this flight. This is Quadcopter 101, signing out.